This is an extremely important video because in this video I'll be sharing with you very tangible proof in the pudding that I see something that you and everybody else does not see. And that's what I'm basically saying about K-12 public education. There's a fly in the ointment of K-12 public education that I see, and if I can help you to see that fly in the K-12 public education, then we'll be able to remove that fly so that students will be able to learn. So for my proof in the pudding, I have a very simple example of a method that everybody uses, which may be incorrect. And for that method, it's photography. The goal of any photographer, especially a portrait photographer, is to create or produce a natural, professional smile of their subject. So for that, it seems very simple. But what method does everybody in America use?
Every picture tells a story. Of course, some stories are bigger than others. Okay, guys, here we go. Everybody say, cheese. Got it.
So in that Apple iPhone commercial, what did you see? And what did I see? Well, the announcer, who was also the photographer, evidently, says every picture tells a story. So what story did you see? His next line, shortly after, everybody say cheese. If you say the word cheese very slowly, very deliberately, and very carefully, and if you notice, which direction do your lips go? Cheese. If you say that word as if a child would say it with no intention other than saying the word correctly, cheese, your lips end up 100% the incorrect direction of the intended goal. And so all of us have been forcing a smile. And basically that's what I'm saying about K-12 education. Unknowingly, all of us are forcing education. And I first realized this, my wife and I were traveling through Arizona, and we did a stop at the Hoover Dam. And at the Hoover Dam, a couple in their 70s, early 80s approached me. And the elderly fella said, "Young man, take a picture of my wife and I." Perfect, I can test my theory. So lined them up by the Hoover Dam, the sun was setting, got them ready and said, "Now you know, if you want someone to take your picture, you don't say cheese, you say please." And they both went, "Please." And the elderly man approaches me and says, "Young fella, that's the best picture anybody has ever took of us." And I said, "Exactly." So when the right method is used, it produces the correct results. So what method have you been using? And do we now want to figure out who started the word cheese? Do we want to find out what date and go back to find out what date that word was started? It doesn't really matter. There's nobody to blame. Just like in education, we're using an incorrect method for teaching children, K-12 public education, and there's no one to blame. So if you were to take this and get a group of maybe 5 to 10, 15 children and do a blind study, and also as the host, if you were to be hidden so that the children cannot see your lips, so that you don't sway the test in any way, and you could ask the children to repeat after me words that we might use if we were to be on a picnic. So you might say like hot dog, or Coke, or pizza, or hamburger, or plate, or knife, or cheese, cheese. I would like a hamburger with cheese. So although in phonics, double E always says E, E, T as well, ch, the ch is so strong that it forces the lips in the opposite direction of the intended goal, ch. So my goal, taking the picture of the subjects at the Hoover Dam, was to make sure that I set it up to let them know we're not going to use the incorrect method that you both have been using for the last 70 years. So now remember, if you want someone to take your picture, you don't say cheese, you say please. Please. The intended goal was achieved. So for you, which method moving forward will you use? Will you continue to promote and continue to teach those who you photograph to use an incorrect method, or will you use a method that actually works in a natural way to create a natural smile? So because of the clarity, it's very simple. As all people, you would go from unconscious incompetence, using the word cheese and not understanding that the lips are moving 100% in the wrong direction, incorrect direction, to conscious incompetence. You now understand, oh, I and my subjects have been using the wrong method, just as a teacher and her students are using the wrong method. As you move forward, you can now use conscious competence. You are now consciously knowing that people are probably going to say cheese because everybody has been using that word as the method, to then ask them to say please to create and produce a natural smile. Eventually, somewhere down the road in the future, if enough Americans understand this, there will be unconscious competence. Everybody will be using a word for a natural smile. It's easy to achieve a goal if you use the correct method. Please, use please instead of cheese.
Well, London will breathe a sigh of relief. Indeed. Congratulations, Lestrade.
Bravo, Inspector. Have a cigar.
Gentlemen, cheese, cheese, cheese.
Nothing more elusive than an obvious fact. Nothing more elusive than an obvious fact. Nothing more elusive than an obvious fact. Case reopened.